15 songs from the 1990s that kids today will never understand.
And even though I act crazy, I gotta thank the Lord.
And I don't mean they've never heard them. They've heard them. That's not the same thing.
Never be another, he was my brother.
Because one of these got pulled off store shelves over a Godzilla movie. One had lawyers asking for $5 billion. One almost got erased off the machine by the man who made it. You know the songs. You don't know what they cost. Number 15, Jump, Criss Cross, 1992. Two 13-year-olds ran the entire music industry in 1992, and they did it wearing their clothes backwards. I need you to sit with how insane that is. Jermaine Dupri found Chris Kelly and Chris Smith at Greenbrier Mall in Atlanta in 1990, and Dupri was barely out of his teens himself. According to Dupri, they weren't rappers. They weren't chasing a deal. He just liked how they looked. That's the whole origin story. 2 kids at the mall, then Jump drops. 8 weeks at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Not 8 weeks on the rap chart, the Hot 100, the whole country.
Cause inside out is wiggin' and wiggin' and wiggin' and whack. I come stoppin' with something pumpin' to keep you jumpin'.
And if you were in a middle school hallway that spring, you remember what happened next. Everybody's jeans turned around. Everybody's jersey turned around. Teachers were losing arguments they didn't know how to have. You couldn't explain it to your mother. That was the point. They toured with Michael Jackson that same year, 13 years old, opening for the biggest star alive. Here's what kids today can't feel. There was no algorithm that made this happen. No trend cycle. 2 children invented a dress code, and a nation of teenagers followed it. And the only way you found out was seeing somebody at the bus stop with their shirt on backwards and going, "Oh, that's what we're doing now." And then the part nobody wants to say out loud. Chris Kelly died on May 1st, 2013. He was 34. Mac Daddy was a grown man for most of his life, but he never got to be anything but 13 to us. Number 14, The Choice Is Yours, Revisited, Black Sheep, 1991.
The long dress, black sheep slam now. No, you heard the others. Only to the lovers.
You know this song from a car commercial, and that's exactly the problem. The 2010 Kia Soul ads, the ones with the hamsters, ran The Choice Is Yours, Revisited, to a generation that had no idea what it was. Millions of people learned that hook from a hatchback. You can get with this, or you can get with that. Cute, catchy, sells cars.
And you can get a scoop later. You can get with this.
Now here's what it actually was. Black Sheep, Dress, and Mista Longe dropped a wolf in sheep's clothing in October 1991. They were native tongues, same family tree as Tribe, De La, Jungle Brothers. Mr. Longe met DJ Red Alert after Red Alert caught one of his sets in North Carolina, and that connection is what put them in the room with everybody. And then the part that would end a career today. That album used somewhere around 40 samples. It took nearly a year to clear them all. A year, sitting on your own record, watching the moment move without you. But stay with me, because here's the flip. Longe used that dead time to rebuild the song. That's why the famous version is the Revisited. And when Dress went back in to lay new vocals, he was a better, more confident rapper than he'd been the first time. The delay made the classic. The thing that was killing them is the thing that saved them. That's not a lesson kids get from a car ad. That's a lesson from an era where the paperwork could bury you, and sometimes the weight made you sharper. And if you've ever had a project sit in limbo for a year and come out better on the other side, you already know that feeling. Number 13, Scenario, A Tribe Called Quest, featuring leaders of the new school, 1992.
Tricks, I see my homie and some suckers all in his mix.
I'm getting jacked.
Some of the greatest verses in rap history got written in a room where nobody had a plan. Phife Dawg said, "Scenario wasn't mapped out at all. They invited their friends to the studio, and everybody built their verses on the spot."
They were in the same spot, in need of some desperate help.
The Low End Theory came out September 1991. Scenario hit as the third single in March of '92, and by then it wasn't a song anymore. It was an event. 5 MCs, one after another, and the last one turns into something the language didn't have a word for yet. Busta Rhymes was the 5th verse.
It's the Warren G. Seen a car full of girls, ain't no need to tweak. All of you search know what.
Leaders of the new school, and that verse is what made him. Kids know Busta as an institution, a voice, a career, but there was one specific afternoon where a young dude from Long Island stepped to the mic behind 4 other rappers, and everything after that was downhill in the best way.
N-A-T-E and me, the Warren to the G.
Just like I thought.
And here's the detail that stays with me. There was a remix of Scenario that introduced an MC named Kid Hood. Days after he recorded it, he was shot and killed in Harlem. That verse is the only recording of him that exists. One verse. That's the whole discography. That's the whole legacy.
All alone.
Just hit the east side of the LBC on a mission trying to find.
Kids today grow up in a world where everything is archived forever. Every take, every session, every throwaway. They can't imagine a world where a man's entire body of work is 90 seconds long because nobody knew to press record twice. The drums, by the way, came off a Jimi Hendrix record. Everything in this era was built out of somebody else's ghost.
Them names was sexy as hell. I said, ooh, I like your size. She said,
Number 12, Regulate, Warren G and Nate Dogg, 1994. This is the smoothest song ever made about getting robbed at gunpoint, and it only exists because a man got frozen out by his own family. Warren G is Dr. Dre's stepbrother. He grew up with Nate Dogg and Snoop. The three of them were a group called 213 as early as 1990. That's the bloodline of the entire West Coast sound. Warren brought samples and beat drafts into the Chronic sessions. He produced and rapped on Doggy Style, and Death Row never signed him. By Warren's own telling, he told Snoop not to sign that contract without a lawyer reading it first, and that conversation soured things with Suge Knight permanently. He was in the building, on the records, in the videos, and outside the circle. So he signed to Def Jam instead and put out Regulate, built on Michael McDonald's I Keep Forgettin', a yacht rock record from 1982 that Warren knew because his people played it around the house. McDonald cleared it happily. He's called it a landmark number 2 on the Hot 100 the whole summer. But here's what got petty. Suge wouldn't let Death Row artists appear on Warren's album. Snoop and Nate, his 2 best friends since childhood, were essentially locked out of his debut. Snoop helped write This DJ and sang the hook, and Death Row wouldn't clear him. Nate only made it onto Regulate because that song got licensed for the Above the Rim soundtrack, which Death Row was releasing anyway. So the biggest West Coast song of 1994 features the one friend the label couldn't legally keep out of the room. Whether that was business or something uglier, I'll let you decide. But Nate Dogg's gone now, and that voice on that record is the closest those 3 ever got to being a group in public. Number 11, Simon Says, Pharaoh Monch, 1999.
Ooh, that act shitty in the midst of the calm, the witty.
You've heard this beat at a basketball game, in a movie trailer, in a gym, and the album it came from was pulled out of print.
Let me see him. Notorious for the 6'5s and the BMs. Heads give you beef, you put a...
Simon Says opens Pharaoh Monch's debut, Internal Affairs, released October 1999 on Raucous. That horn stab everybody knows? It's from the theme to Godzilla vs. Mothra, composed by Akira Ifukube in 1992. Nobody cleared it.
Playing with long-term goals, slip my underground loop. without the gold. You so bad.
In 2001, Toho, the Japanese studio that owns Godzilla, sued. The uncleared sample stopped the album's distribution cold.
Obligated, hard and R-rated. Slated to be the best, I must confess the star made it.
Now here's the part that should make you mad. Monch has said the label was told what the sample was and what it would cost. He's put the number around $14,000. They didn't pay it, and by the time the lawsuit came back around, the figure had ballooned into the hundreds of thousands. He's described getting served while he was cutting grass in Queens. Cutting grass after a top 3 rap single.
Fuck it, I said rub on your titties. New York City gritty committee, pity the fool.
And the song was doing numbers. Number 97 on the Hot 100, but number 3 on Hot Rap Songs. It was in Charlie's Angels. It was in Boiler Room. The song was everywhere. The album was nowhere. And honestly, I think this is the most underrated cautionary tale of the whole era. Not because a rapper got sued, that happened constantly. Because a $14,000 clerical decision erased a classic album from stores while the single played in every arena in America.
In the back shooting crash now, what's up? Girlies, rub on your titty.
Some people say that's just how the business worked back then. I'd argue somebody made a choice and an artist paid for it. You might see it differently.
It's in the back shooting crash now, what's up? Girls, rub on your titty.
Number 10, Rosa Parks, OutKast, 1998.
The type of people made the club get full. Many a day has passed, the night has gone by.
OutKast named a song after a civil rights icon. Her lawyers came back asking for $5 billion. Rosa Parks was the most successful radio single from Aquamini in 1998. Andre and Big Boy, the harmonica breakdown, the stomp clap that made every gym floor in the South shake. Then in 1999, a lawsuit was filed on Parks' behalf, alleging defamation and trademark infringement because they'd used her name without permission on a song that's actually about the entertainment industry. The only real connection in the lyrics is the hook about moving to the back of the bus. A federal judge dismissed it in November 1999. That should have been the end. It wasn't. The appeals court reinstated part of it. The Supreme Court declined to shut it down. A second suit came in 2004, naming B.M.G, Arista, and LaFace. They sought more than $5 billion. And here's the part that sits heavy. Parks had been living with dementia since at least 2002. Some of her own relatives criticized the case, saying she wouldn't have minded the song if she hadn't been impaired. A judge eventually appointed an impartial representative because the family had concerns about whose interests were actually being served. It settled in April 2005. No admission of wrongdoing, and an agreement to build educational programs about her life with the Rosa and Raymond Parks Institute. She passed later that same year. 6 years of litigation over a hook, and the woman at the center of it may never have fully known it was happening. Kids today think problematic means somebody screenshotted a tweet. This was the real version. Number 9, Rough Riders Anthem, DMX, 1998. DMX didn't want to record this song. He thought the beat was corny. Rough Riders Anthem came out May 5th, 1998, off It's Dark and Hell Is Hot, produced by a kid named Kasim Dean, Swizz Beats. Swizz got into the room because his uncles, Darren and Joaquin Dean, co-founded Rough Riders. Swizz has told this story a bunch of times. X heard it and said it sounded like a rock and roll track. Not hood enough, he wasn't doing it.
Gotta make them prove, got them all like ooh. So to the next time, you hit it.
So how'd it happen? Swizz says DMX lost a bet. That was the deal. X had to rap over one of the kids' beats. In Swizz's words, that song ended up changing all their lives.
Like you busting grapes, think you holding weight, and you haven't met the ape.
Think about what almost didn't exist. No, stop, drop, open up shop. No blueprint for that whole hard drum era. A generation of producers took their entire sound from a beat the artist had to be argued into.
Down, open up shop. Oh,
Swizz has talked about standing on 125th in Harlem afterward, watching every car that passed playing the anthem.
Try to keep your mind on getting in prime.
And here's the one that hurts. When it first came out, Rough Riders anthem only reached number 93 on the Hot 100. It didn't hit its real peak, number 16, until after DMX died in April 2021. 23 years later, the chart finally caught up to what the streets knew in 1998.
I'ma pull papers, it's all about the papers. Chickens caught the papers and now they want.
Number 8, Hard Knock Life, Ghetto Anthem, Jay-Z, 1998. Jay-Z became a superstar because he wrote a letter that wasn't true. Hard Knock Life, Ghetto Anthem, dropped October 27, 1998, produced by the 45 King, built on It's the Hard Knock Life from the 1977 musical Annie.
Then I put it down tight grill. I'm tight grill with the phony rappers.
The 45 King had shopped that beat around. Queen Latifah passed on it. Jay heard it while Kid Capri was DJing on the N.W.A Out tour and moved on it immediately. Then came The Wall. You can't just use a Broadway show. Jay has said the company holding the rights sent his lawyers a letter turning them down.
From standing on the corners bopping to driving some of the hottest cars New Yorkers.
So Jay wrote them himself. In Decoded, he laid it out. He made up a story about being a 7th grader in Bed-Stuy whose teacher ran an essay contest, and the 3 best papers won a trip into the city to see Annie.
After that, I float for chicks wishing they ain't have to strip to pay tuition.
He wrote that from the moment the curtain came up, he understood her story. He'd never seen it on Broadway. He'd seen the movie on TV. They bought it, they cleared it, and he had one of the biggest hits of his life, number 15 on the Hot 100, his biggest to that point, and the album moved north of 5 million. And here's the wildest wrinkle. Nipsey Hussle said years later that when Jay cleared it, he negotiated so that rappers coming after him could use it too. One made-up essay contest opened a door that stayed open for everybody behind him. Kids today would call that a hustle. Back then, it was just Tuesday. Number 7, I Used to Love Her, Common, 1994. A love song about a woman who was never a woman, almost got somebody killed.
Few New York arms had dinner in the park, but she was there for me and I was there for.
I Used to Love Her came out September 27th, 1994, produced by No.I.D. off Common Sense's Resurrection. The whole record is one extended metaphor. He's describing hip-hop itself as a woman he fell in love with and watched change.
The past, when she got into R&B, hip-hop, space, and jazz. Now black music is black music.
Beautiful writing, gentle delivery, one line lit a fuse. I wasn't salty she was with the boys in the hood. That was read as a shot at the West Coast, and specifically at Ice Cube, who wrote Boys and the Hood.
Before she got into showbiz, I did her, not just to say I did it, but I'm committed.
Cube and West Side Connection came back with West Side Slaughterhouse in 1995. Common answered with The Bitchin' You, produced by Pete Rock. Common has said there was a confrontation between them in Atlanta in 95. And this is 1995 going into 96 and 97. You know what that timeline means.
Oh girl at the club, sit at the house party. She didn't have a body, but she started getting.
By 1997, Minister Louis Farrakhan sat them down at the Nation of Islam headquarters in Chicago, and that room also held Snoop, The Dog Pound, Bone Thugs, Nate Dogg, Mac 10, WC, 2 Hort, Fat Joe, and Chuck D. Common's words about it, Biggie had just passed, Pac before him, and you didn't know who was going to do what. That's the part kids can't process. A metaphor about a woman who represented a genre escalated to the point where it needed a religious leader to broker peace, because 2 other men were already dead.
And listen to her, sitting on bone, wishing that I could do eventually if it was.
And here's my honest take. I think I Used to Love Her is still the best song ever written about hip-hop, and I think Cube had every right to be offended. Both things. I know some of you are only going to agree with one.
She probably get her money in LA, and she did stud, she got big pub, but what was foul?
Number 6, Shook Ones Part 2, Mobb Deep, 1995. The most terrifying beat in New York history almost got deleted by the man who made it.
For they self in his land, we be gunning and keep them shook crews running like they.
Back up first. Mobb Deep got dropped by 4th and B.I.G after their first album didn't work. They landed at Loud. Havoc has said the reason they even made a part 2 was nervousness. They were paranoid about failing again, so they went back at it to be sure. 2 teenagers from Queensbridge, already fired once, scared it was over.
And once the smoke clears, you be left with one and you don't. 13 years in the projects.
Prodigy told the story in 2015. Havoc was upstairs making beats. They walked in, heard it playing, and said, "What is that?" Havoc's answer was that it was garbage. He was about to wipe it. Prodigy stopped him. "That's it. That's the whole margin."
When your face stab your brain with your nose bone, you all alone in these streets, cousin.
Shook Ones Part 2 came out February 7th, 1995, and nobody could figure out what it was made of. For years, through the 8 Mile era and beyond, message boards argued about the sample and even about what instrument you were hearing. Havoc and Prodigy never said a word. It got solved in 2011 by a guy on a hip-hop forum. It's a piano melody from Herbie Hancock's Jessica, slowed down and pitched at 2 different speeds until it sounded like a bass line. Havoc said later he didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and since the myth sounded better than the truth, he let it live. 16 years of mystery on purpose. One more thing. Prodigy says 19 on that record. He was 18 when they cut it. He always aged himself up. He put it plainly once. Dealing with sickle cell and watching what he watched. At 19, he felt like he was 40. 18 years old, and that's the voice he had. Number 5. Cream, Wu-Tang Clan, 1994. The most quoted line in rap history came from a song that couldn't crack the top 50.
No question, I will flow off and try to get the dough off. Sticking up right.
Cream, released January 31st, 1994, on Loud, off Enter the Wu-Tang, 36 Chambers. RZA, on the boards, sampling the Charmel's 1967 record, As Long As I've Got You. Raekwon and Inspector Deck on the verses, Method Man on that hook.
To learn to overcome the heartaches and pain, we got stick up kids, corrupt cops.
It peaked at 60 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 8 on Hot Rap Songs, 32 on R&B, and that made it the highest charting Wu-Tang record ever. Their ceiling, the 9-man army that changed New York, that got every member a solo deal, that turned a logo into a global flag. Their commercial peak is a song that finished behind 24 records you couldn't hum today.
No question, I was speed for cracks and weed. The combination made my eyes.
It didn't even go gold until 2009, 15 years later. And if you were buying tapes in 94, you know why that doesn't matter. Nobody was checking Billboard. You were checking who had the album in the lunchroom. You were checking whose older cousin had the tape first, and whether he'd let you copy it, and whether the copy came back with the levels all wrong.
Give up, so I seek the old earth. Who explain working hard may help you maintain.
Cash rules everything around me. 5 words. They're in dictionaries now. They're in corporate ad campaigns. They're on the lips of children who weren't born when the song came out, and the record itself never got past number 60. That's the gap between what the charts measure and what the culture keeps. Kids today live in a world where the numbers are the verdict. In 1994, the numbers were an afterthought, and the barbershop was the judge.
Times is rough and tough like leather. Figured out I went the wrong route, so I got.
Number 4, Juicy, the Notorious B.I.G., 1994.
Jack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard.
It was all a dream, and somebody's still arguing about who dreamed it first. Juicy, August 9th, 1994, Bad Boy, the first single from Ready to Die, produced by Poke of the Trackmasters, alongside Sean Combs. Built on Montume's 1983 record Juicy Fruit, specifically the fruity instrumental mix, with Total and Puffy singing a rewritten hook, Rags to Riches, Poverty to the Penthouse, the most hopeful song a man who titled his album Ready to Die ever made. Here's the first thing that'll get you. It peaked at 27 on the Hot 100. 27, for what a lot of people will tell you is the greatest rap song ever recorded. And here's the second thing. Pete Rock has claimed for 2 decades that he made the original version.
Considered a fool cause I dropped out of high school. Stereotypes of a black man.
He told Wax Poetics in 2004 that Puff and Biggie came to his house, heard the beat running on his drum machine, and the next thing he knew, the record was out without his credit. He says he'll fight it to the end. He doesn't want money. He wants the correct credit. Poke denied it to Complex in 2012. I don't know the truth. Neither do you. 2 men who were in the room remember it differently, and one of them isn't here to weigh in at all. That's the era in one story.
And if you don't know, now you know, nigga.
Beats moved by cassette and word of mouth. Credit was whatever ended up on the sleeve. And a song about a kid finally getting what he was owed has a 30-year argument attached about somebody who says he never got his. If you've ever built something and watched somebody else's name go on it, that one lands different, doesn't it?
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this.
Number 3, The Crossroads, Bone Thugs in Harmony, 1996. This was a private funeral before it was a number 1 record. The original version, just Crossroad, showed up on E! or 1999 Eternal in 1995. It was for a friend from Cleveland, Wallace Laird III, Wally, a neighborhood song for a neighborhood loss. That's all it was ever supposed to be. Then Eazy-E died on March 26, 1995. Eazy signed Bone to Ruthless in late 1993. He's the reason they existed. And in the same stretch, Wish lost an uncle and Crazy lost a cousin. So they went back into the studio and rebuilt the song. New beat from Unique, this time off an Isley Brothers sample, and they cleaned the profanity out of it. The Crossroads, released April 1996. It debuted at number 2, the highest debuting rap single there had ever been, went to number 1 the next week, and stayed there 8 straight weeks. It won the Grammy for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group in 1997. And here's the detail that gets me every time. Bone was on the road when it exploded. No cell phones, no internet. They didn't fully know, grinding through tour stops while the biggest song in America was theirs. But that's not why it's on this list. It's on this list because of what it became. That song stopped being about Wally, or Eazy, or Cleveland. It turned into the record you play at the repast, the one somebody puts on at the cookout when they say a name and everybody goes quiet. If you've ever heard The Crossroads come on and had to leave the room, you're not alone in this comment section. I promise you that. Number 2, They Reminisce Over You, T-Roy, Pete Rock and Kel Smooth, 1992.
But you don't give a damn. Irresponsible, plain not thinking. Papa said Joe.
The greatest horn loop in rap history exists because a 22-year-old dancer fell off a ledge. Troy Dixon, Trouble T-Roy. He danced with Heavy D and the boys.
21, believe he got a right to. Here we go while I check the scene with the
In 1990, on tour in Indianapolis, he fell from a raised exit ramp. He survived the fall itself and died later at the hospital. He was 22. It was ruled an accident.
If we're talking about a car, Uncle Sterling got the latest. I tried to be live because I got no.
Pete Rock and CL Smooth were close to him. Pete said it straight in an interview years later. He was depressed when he made it, and to this day he can't believe he got through it, feeling the way he was feeling.
Kids, hun, here it is. After 10 years without no spouse, mama's getting married.
He found the Tom Scott record while digging. He said he just heard something that touched him and made him cry. Beautiful bass line. He started there, found the sax, and the beat came, and when he mixed the song down, Charlie Brown from Leaders of the New School was in the session, and everybody in that room started crying. Grown men in a studio over a loop.
My grandma Pam holds the family together. My Uncle Doc's the greatest, better get the.
Came out April 2nd, 1992, off Mecca and the Soul Brother. And what's wild is, the verses aren't really about Troy for most of the song. CL is talking about his own mother having him young, his father being gone, his uncle stepping into that space.
It's over you, my God.
It's only the third verse where he turns and speaks directly to Troy. That's why it works. It's not a eulogy. It's a man taking inventory of everybody who raised him and only then getting to the one he lost. Kids today have grief playlists. We had one record, and you had to flip the tape over to get back to it.
I dedicate this to you for believing in me. Rain or shine, yes, in any.
Number 1, Dear Mama, Tupac, 1995.
Bored another little kid. And even though we had different daddies.
Released February 1995, the lead single from Me Against the World, produced by Tony Pizarro, dedicated to his mother, Afeni Shakur. In it, he lays out his childhood poverty and his mother's crack addiction, and then says plainly that his love and respect for her outweigh the bad memories.
I ain't guilty cause even though I sell rocks, it feels good putting money in your man.
Say that part again. He put his mother's addiction on a record, in public, in 1995. And then chose her anyway. Nobody was doing that. Not then. That was a level of exposure men in this culture were not permitted.
And all my childhood memories are full of all the sweet things you did for me.
Now the context nobody teaches. This album was made right after Pac was shot 5 times outside a New York studio, and right after he was sentenced. He began serving that sentence on February 14th, 1995. The album came out while he was in prison, and while he was locked up, it became the best-selling album of the year in the country at that point, passing Bruce Springsteen's greatest hits.
I started really hanging. I needed money of my own, so I started slanging.
Sit with the picture, a man in a cell, his voice on every radio in America, telling the whole country he forgives his mother. Dear Mama was his first top 10 on the Hot 100, number 9, and it sat on top of the rap chart for 5 weeks.
Suspended from school, I'm scared to go home. I was a fool with the big boys break.
And the Library of Congress put it in the National Recording Registry, calling it a moving homage to his own mother and to all mothers holding a family together against addiction, poverty, and a society that doesn't care.
Now ain't nobody tell us it was fair. No love for my daddy cause the coward wasn't.
Only the third hip-hop recording ever preserved that way, after Grandmaster Flash and Public Enemy, the federal government of the United States decided this song had to be kept forever.
Mama.
That's a rap record from a man they just locked up. And if you've ever had a complicated relationship with the woman who raised you, one where the love and the damage live in the same house, you already know why this is number 1. He didn't clean her up for the song. He told the truth and loved her out loud in the same breath.
Mama catch me, put a whoop into my backside. And even as a crack fiend,